Millions of people have traveled to Medjugorje, believing in Marian apparitions. The Catholic Church has investigated for more than 40 years and still does not confirm they are supernatural. 6 visionaries claim to receive messages from the Virgin Mary since 1981. But critics point to serious contradictions in their testimonies, and here is what makes this urgent now in 2025. Prophecies associated with Medjugorje speak of global events that are supposedly about to happen. 10 secrets were revealed to the visionaries, and some of them allegedly refer to imminent chastisements for humanity. If you want to understand both sides of this controversy before forming your own opinion, you need to know the facts that most videos don't mention. Stay until the end, because I will reveal 3 critical points that completely change how you should evaluate Medjugorje, and the last one is directly connected with events that may unfold this very year. Imagine being an 11-year-old child in a small village in Bosnia, when suddenly you see a luminous woman floating above the ground, holding a baby in her arms. You run away terrified, tell your family, and the next day, 5 other children claim to see the same figure. This is how Medjugorje began in June of 1981, and the phenomenon continues to this day, more than 4 decades later. Some of the original visionaries still claim to have daily apparitions of the Virgin Mary. Millions of pilgrims have visited the site seeking healings, conversions, and signs from heaven, but the official church has never declared these apparitions as authentic. Why? What exactly is happening in Medjugorje that so deeply divides devout Catholics, respected theologians, and ecclesiastical authorities? Before we dive into this investigation about Marian apparitions and end times prophecies, subscribe to the Living Hope channel and hit the notification bell, because this content on spiritual discernment may be exactly what you need at this crucial moment in 2026. Medjugorje is a small village in the Herzegovina region, which, at the time of the first apparitions, was part of communist Yugoslavia. On June 24, 1981, 6 young people between 10 and 16 years old reported seeing a luminous female figure on the hill called Podbrdo. In the following days, the apparitions continued, attracting growing crowds despite the repression of the communist regime. The young visionaries are Ivanka, Mirjana, Vika, Ivan, Maria, and Yakov. They claim that the figure identified herself as the Gospa, the Queen of Peace, and began transmitting daily messages about prayer, fasting, conversion, and world peace. What differentiates Medjugorje from other Marian apparitions approved by the Church is the extraordinary duration of the phenomenon. While Fatima lasted 6 months and Lourdes a few weeks, Medjugorje has continued for more than 40 years. And this is precisely one of the points that raises serious questions. Now I need to present exactly what the visionaries claim to have received, because this is fundamental for any honest evaluation. According to the 6 young people, the lady appears dressed in grey with a white veil, floating on a cloud with a crown of 12 stars. She transmits messages focused on 5 main points: daily rosary prayer, fasting on Wednesdays and Fridays, monthly confession, Bible reading, and participation in the Eucharist. Up to this point, everything seems aligned with traditional Catholic doctrine, but the apparitions also include more controversial elements. Each visionary supposedly received 10 secrets about future events that will affect the entire world. These secrets include warnings, chastisements, and a permanent sign that will be left on the hill of the apparitions. 3 of the visionaries have already received all 10 secrets, and their daily apparitions have ceased. The other 3 continue having regular visions, and here is the detail that connects directly with 2025. Some of the visionaries have indicated that the secrets would begin to be fulfilled in the near future, generating intense speculation about dates. I must mention the extraordinary phenomena reported in Medjugorje because they are a central part of the debate. Thousands of pilgrims claim to have witnessed the sun spinning in the sky, similar to the miracle of the sun at Fatima. Others report metallic crosses glowing with their own light, rosaries changing color from silver to gold, and figures appearing in photographs. There are also numerous testimonies of unexplainable healings, from cancer to blindness, although none has been officially verified with the rigor applied at Lourdes. What few mention is that similar phenomena have been reported at other sites of alleged apparitions that the Church later rejected. The presence of signs and wonders by itself does not confirm divine authenticity. Even the scriptures warn that false prophets can perform wonders. This does not mean that the phenomena of Medjugorje are false, but it means they cannot be used as definitive proof of authenticity. And shortly I will show how the Church officially evaluates these matters. The 10 secrets of Medjugorje deserve special attention because they are frequently cited in discussions about end times prophecies. According to the Visionaries, these secrets reveal future events in a specific sequence. The first 3 are described as warnings for humanity. The 7th secret was originally a severe chastisement, but was softened due to the prayers of the faithful. The 10th secret is described as the most serious of all. Marian, one of the Visionaries, received the mission to reveal each secret to the world 10 days before its fulfillment through a designated priest. She possesses a mysterious parchment where the secrets are written, visible only to her. What makes this relevant to the year 2026 is that several Medjugorje analysts have noted statements by the Visionaries suggesting that the revelation of the secrets is approaching. However, it is crucial to observe that similar predictions were made in previous decades without coming true. Now I need to present the critical side of this story, because any honest analysis must consider both perspectives. The first local bishop, Paweł Janich, conducted the initial investigation and concluded negatively. He pointed out several serious concerns. First, the testimonies of the Visionaries contained contradictions about basic details of the apparitions, including the lady's appearance and the content of the initial messages. Second, there were episodes of alleged disobedience by the local Franciscans to diocesan authorities, creating serious ecclesiastical conflicts. Third, the bishop questioned whether the Lady of Medjugorje would really speak about parish property disputes, as supposedly occurred in some messages. His successor, Ratko Peric, maintained an equally skeptical position, explicitly declaring that Medjugorje is not supernatural. However, it is important to note that the final decision about apparitions does not belong to the local bishop, but to the Holy See. And here is what many do not know. The position of the local bishops has been consistently negative for more than 40 years. The Vatican established several commissions to investigate Medjugorje, and the results are more complex than generally presented. The Ruini Commission, appointed by Pope Benedict XVI and concluded in 2014, supposedly made a distinction between the first apparitions and the subsequent ones. According to reports, the Commission voted favorably on the first 7 apparitions, but expressed reservations about the thousands of apparitions that followed. This distinction is significant because it suggests that even favorable investigators found problems in the continuity of the phenomenon. Pope Francis made mixed public comments about Medjugorje, stating that the Virgin Mary is not a telegram dispatcher sending daily messages, but also allowing official pilgrimages to the site. The current position of the Church remains as it has been for decades. It is not established that the apparitions are supernatural. This is not definitive rejection, but it is also not approval. It is suspension of judgment. And here is something that serious critics point out and that needs to be considered. There are documented inconsistencies in the testimonies of the Visionaries over the years. In initial interviews recorded in 1981, the Visionaries gave descriptions that differ from later versions. Some details about the first apparitions changed over time. There are also theological questions raised by experts. For example, in some messages attributed to the Lady, all religions are presented as equal before God, which contradicts official Catholic doctrine on the uniqueness of Christ. Other messages seem to contain subtle theological errors that scholars consider inconsistent with authentic Marian apparitions. This does not prove fraud, but raises legitimate questions about the source of the messages. What few realize is that the Church applies rigorous criteria precisely because frauds and spiritual deceptions are real possibilities that must be excluded before any approval. I must also address the financial questions surrounding Medjugorje because they are frequently mentioned by critics. The site has transformed into a pilgrimage industry, generating millions of dollars annually. Hotels, restaurants, religious article shops have proliferated in the region. The Visionaries have published books, give paid lectures around the world, and some live in very comfortable material conditions. Critics argue that there are significant financial incentives for the phenomenon to continue. Defenders respond that the Visionaries have the right to live with dignity, and that commercialization is inevitable at any pilgrimage site, including approved sanctuaries like Fatima and Lourdes. This is an area where each person must form their own judgment. Money by itself does not prove falsity, but creates context that requires additional discernment. And this connects with a larger question about how to evaluate spiritual phenomena in general at this moment in 2025. Now I need to present the other side, the positive spiritual impact that Medjugorje has undeniably produced in millions of people. Regardless of any judgment about authenticity, the spiritual fruits are documented and significant. Countless people report profound conversions after visiting Medjugorje or coming into contact with its messages. Priests and religious testify to vocations born there. Marriages have been saved, addictions abandoned, faith renewed. The number of confessions heard in Medjugorje is extraordinary, with priests attending to the faithful for hours every day. Eucharistic adoration attracts crowds in reverent silence. Rosaries are prayed continuously. If we judge only by visible fruits, Medjugorje seems to produce spiritual abundance. However, and here is the delicate point, good fruits can emerge even from ambiguous situations. God can use imperfect instruments to reach hearts. The presence of positive fruits does not automatically prove that the apparitions are authentic in the strict theological sense. The sacramentals associated with Medjugorje also deserve mention because they are widely used by devotees around the world. Special rosaries, medals, holy water from the site. Objects touched by the Visionaries circulate among the faithful who attribute special powers to them. Some report that ordinary rosaries changed color after being taken to Medjugorje, a phenomenon they consider a divine sign. Critics respond that color changes in metals can have natural explanations involving oxidation and other chemical processes. The Church has never officially approved these sacramentals as bearers of special graces. This does not mean they are prohibited, only that they do not carry ecclesiastical guarantee. Devotees can use them with personal faith, but should understand the distinction between private devotion and official approval. And this is especially important for Christians navigating questions of spiritual discernment in 2025. Let me now address the question of prophecies and their connection with the times we live in. Many followers of Medjugorje interpret the messages as warnings about imminent global events. They point to wars, pandemics, global instability, and moral decline as confirmations that we are approaching the fulfillment of the secrets. In 2025, this perspective gains additional urgency due to the global geopolitical situation. Conflicts multiply, tensions increase. Many feel that something significant is approaching. However, it is crucial to maintain historical perspective. Every generation since 1981 has interpreted the events of their time as signs of imminent fulfillment. So far, none of the specific predictions has come true in a verifiable way. This does not mean they will never be fulfilled, but it means that caution is appropriate when interpreting private prophecies, even those associated with phenomena that many consider authentic. What then should we conclude about Medjugorje? And this is the question that each viewer needs to answer for themselves. The most honest position recognizes the genuine complexity of the situation. On one side, there are millions of people whose lives have been positively transformed. There are abundant spiritual fruits. There are testimonies of profound faith experiences. On the other side, there are unresolved theological questions. There are documented inconsistencies. There is a church that after 40 years of investigation still has not confirmed supernaturality. None of these factors in isolation resolves the question. And here is what I believe to be the most important point. You do not need to be certain about Medjugorje to live a faithful Christian life. The central messages attributed to the Lady, prayer, fasting, conversion, confession, Eucharist, are all traditional Catholic practices that do not depend on Medjugorje for their validity. You can embrace these practices without necessarily accepting or rejecting the apparitions. For those who feel attracted to Medjugorje, I offer practical guidance based on solid spiritual discernment. First, keep the Church as your anchor. Do not place private revelations above the official magisterium. If the Church eventually rejects Medjugorje, be prepared to accept that judgment with humility. Second, avoid obsession with secrets and prophecies. Many devotees develop an unhealthy fixation on dates and predictions, neglecting daily spiritual life. This is spiritually dangerous, regardless of the authenticity of the apparitions. Third, judge by the fruits in your own life. If your involvement with Medjugorje is producing greater love for God, charity toward neighbor, deeper sacramental life, inner peace, these are positive signs. If it is producing anxiety, division, feelings of spiritual superiority, reconsider your involvement. For those who remain skeptical about Medjugorje, I also offer guidance. First, respect the sincere faith of millions who have found God through this path. Even if you disagree about authenticity, the spiritual experience of these people is real and deserves respect. Second, recognize that the Church has not yet pronounced a definitive negative judgment. Skepticism is legitimate, but premature condemnation is not appropriate while the official investigation continues. Third, be open to the possibility that God works in ways we do not always understand. The history of the Church contains examples of apparitions initially rejected that were later approved. Intellectual humility is a Christian virtue as much as critical discernment, and here is my perspective on why this topic is relevant now in 2025. We live in an era of great spiritual confusion. Extraordinary phenomena are constantly reported. Prophecies circulate on social media. Many Christians seek signs and wonders to confirm their faith. In this context, developing mature spiritual discernment is absolutely essential. Medjugorje serves as a perfect case study to learn how to evaluate spiritual claims. What criteria to use, how to weigh evidence, how to maintain balance between openness to the supernatural and necessary prudence. These skills will become increasingly important as we approach times that many consider critical for humanity. And the Living Hope channel is here to help you navigate these waters with wisdom and faith. The most important message that emerges from this investigation is not about Medjugorje specifically, but about how you relate to God directly. No apparition, however authentic it may be, replaces your personal relationship with Christ. No prophecy, however accurate it may be, replaces the guidance of the Holy Spirit in your life. No sacramental, however powerful it may be, replaces the official sacraments of the Church. If Medjugorje is authentic, its purpose is to point to Christ, not to itself. If it is not authentic, the spiritual practices it recommends remain valid because they come from Christian tradition, not from Medjugorje. Either way, the center of your faith should remain where it should always be, in Jesus Christ. Present in the Eucharist, revealed in the Scriptures, alive in His Church. If this content about Medjugorje, spiritual discernment, and prophecies of current times was helpful to you, subscribe now to the Living Hope channel to continue receiving balanced analyses on faith topics that truly matter in 2025. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss future content about Marian apparitions, prophecies, and spiritual preparation. Share this video with friends and family who need guidance on these topics. And leave in the comments your position on Medjugorje. Are you a devotee, skeptical, or somewhere in the middle? We want to hear your perspective and build together a community of discernment. May the Holy Spirit illuminate your path, strengthen your faith, and give you wisdom to distinguish between what comes from God and what comes from other sources. Until the next video on the Living Hope channel. Remember, our hope is not in signs and apparitions, but in the risen Christ who promised to be with us every day until the end of time.